suspension for the military mini bike.
All right, you guys, welcome back to another video, B-rad the Builder series. Today we're working on a suspension seat for the old mini bike here. Working on this military mini bike, and what we're gonna do is put this spring in here for the seat. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a really cool video. I'm going to show you how to avoid seeing an air gap underneath the seat. Make sure everything's uniform and looks really nice while it still functions properly. So hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and always subscribe. Don't forget about your caffeine, guys. Just make sure the brain's working real good. All right, guys, so we got the seat off here. This is what we're working with for material. I got some of this square tube at Menards, as well as some of this flat stock, which is gonna cover up that air gap when the seat's moving up and down. You'll see how it works once I get it all together. It may not make sense now, but trust me, it will. And then here's the shock again. So that's going to be mounted right about in here. And basically what I need to do is just make a metal frame on the inside so it's really stiff and sturdy. And I chose this square tube specifically because it's really light, but yet it's super strong like this. So I mean, that's what we want. We want light and strong. We don't want to add a bunch of weight to our mini bike. So that's what we got going on there. But first, I'm going to be taking these staples out just so I can get just the pan. So I can, that is all I need to work with. I don't really need the seat, and I don't want to be put it on this, put holes in it, or destroy it. So I'm going to get that off of there, and that way I can also bolt through the plastic on the inside of the seat to whatever I'm making here. So stay tuned, and I'll probably just do a time lapse of me taking the seat off. So here we go. Alright, this is awesome, you guys. I did not expect this to be this well made, and just all these supports in here and stuff. That's going to make it a lot more rigid, which is going to help out a lot with the suspension and just keeping things uniform when you're sitting on it, and just getting that force to that spring. So this is awesome. Really, really good news that this is this well built. So this is going to help out a lot. And just to give you guys just kind of my thought process in this whole thing, I don't have any design on paper. This is all in my head, so we're just going to build as we go, and then, you know, when we run into obstacles, we'll overcome them. But a few things that I'm kind of thinking here. I know this here is going to be an issue. Going to have to build some type of gap to jump this for the air gap. The sheet metal that's going to come here. This flat stock here covers this. I'm just gonna have to cut this out and still keep it strong up here. And back here, I'm gonna have a pipe, a little section of pipe that sticks out of here that'll bolt to this. So I'm using all the stock hardware and everything here. I don't want to weld anything to the frame. I want to be able to take this thing on and off without destroying the bike. So that's what we're thinking here. We're gonna have a pipe here that's gonna be supported by two brackets that come down to the pipe. And that shock is going to stick into the pipe and mount to the bottom of the seat here. So far I'm just kind of brainstorming what I want to do exactly with the frame here and just figure it out as we go. Alright, so I got it marked here. You can see this little bend. Just going to take this to the vise and bend this in just a little bit just to match the frame. And then on the back side I know where to cut. And then yeah, I'm going to do that for both sides. Alright, took these over to the vise, got them bent. Got both sides set up. And see, kind of follows that bend right in here in the frame perfectly. Comes back, and I'll come across here. And then we'll make a mount in here for the shock to mount to. That'll be really solid. And coming over here, we're gonna have to make a little hinge. I'll make the hinge just like a U, basically. It'll go flat, up, and then bolt will come through, and the same thing on the top side. That way, the whole seat will be able to swivel up and down. And so this will be the fulcrum here, and this will come up and down for suspension. So that's what we got so far. Here's the pipe that I was talking about that's going to mount to that fender, the fender mount. So the shock is going to stick in there like this, and then be bolted through, cut off, flat plate welded on the bottom with a hole in it for the bolt to go through. That'll mount the fender and this. So yep, this is the next step. Alright, so here's the pipe the shock is going to mount into, and there we go. Look at that. Perfect washer, nice and thick. Almost fits on there perfectly, which is sweet. There's a little bit of an overhang, which will allow me to weld around, so that's kind of nice, a little extra meat there. So, yep, there's this piece. this thing tacked and straight. I'm just gonna finish up the welds here. Alright you guys, well this spring on this shock is way too stiff, so we went down to the local hardware store and found some of these swing springs. So they're rated for 300 pounds each versus probably 750 for this, maybe even more. So what I'm going to do is cut this spring down to the same size and then just flatten this out and basically just install this spring onto this shock, and should be a lot more forgiving. So let's try that out. Alright, so the camera kind of cut out on me there, but this hinge is going to be in the front, which will help this whole frame pivot up and down with the shock. So like I was saying, cut these out of flat stock and then bent them at angles, and then I'm going to drill through on each side so it'll allow it to pivot just like this. So once I get it together, I'll show you. Alright, so here's the hinge that I made. You can see here how it swivels like this. Just drilled some holes through, found a perfect size bolt that's this smooth surface all the way to the end here, right where the threads start. So it'll be nice and solid. That's what we want, really solid. And then this hinge will go right here. Be welded to there, so this will swivel up and down. So after working on the hinge here, I noticed that when I stick my bolt through, the tolerances are pretty tight. So I was originally thinking I could put bolts through here, but what I decided to do was just drill holes and put the bolts through, but cut the heads off, and then I'll weld this and this in place so the head won't interfere with the bolt when it goes through it all. All right, so with the hinge here, it's gonna stick in these holes just like that, and then obviously be secured underneath with some nuts. And then yeah, that's how my hinge is gonna be held on. And so far so good. All right, quick update. I used some square tube to make this little piece back here that my shock's gonna mount to. It was a pretty intricate part, so I don't want to spend too much time filming me making it, because it literally would have taken probably about half an hour, 45 minutes of video just to show you how I made this. So basically just use square tube, cut out this piece here, drill the hole for the shock to go into, and then just weld this at an angle. That way I can still get my bolt out here, and then it sits really nicely in the pan, which has this little indent here. So this piece just sits in there like this, doesn't interfere with anything. So that worked out nicely. I got my hinge welded on there. So this is what we're looking like right now. So I got the suspension all hooked up now to the back. I just want to show you guys how it's working so far. If I use my weight here and push this down, you can see how it moves up and down. So the original shock, with this stiffer spring, there's just no way, like there's no give at all. So using that porch swing spring from the hardware store worked perfectly. So as you can see here, moves down really nicely. Takes a little force, but not much. So it should be just about right once you're on there and sitting on it. It should be freaking prime. So that's where I'm at. Alright you guys, this is what the finished product is kind of looking like here. Just welded this flat stock on the outside just to hide that air gap. Couldn't be more pleased with how this turned out, honestly. Just works really good, as you can see there. And it's fully adjustable too, which is nice. Just kind of hides everything, really well put together, and it just works freaking awesome. So once I get it all painted and the seat on, I'll sit on it and kind of show you guys how it works. But for now, this is where we're at. Nothing too special happened. Just welded this flat plate on here, tacked it just to hold the seat on. I used the original bolt holes on the seat pan right there, and then these two, and then you can see these holes here just to hold the seat on. Thought that was the best route, just use the original mounting holes, and that worked out perfectly. So yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty sweet here. All right, safety first, guys. So this is the Springer seat all complete. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a closer look, just how everything works and how everything came together. So we'll start right here in the front, just with the hinge. So I showed you that earlier in the video. Just welded that to here for the front of the seat. And the overall movement is so minimal. It's a very small amount of movement, but I wanted it to be really strong, just because there can't be any side-to-side movement. And then moving here, added this plate for the seat mount, and then these side brackets here, this flat stock just to hide that air gap, and then cut out these slits just to get around that piece that goes across the frame for the original seat mount. And then here's the shock mount. And I had to put that up just a little bit so I could get that bolt through, because if it was flush with this, I wouldn't be able to get the bolt through. So made that really strong, welded on top and the bottom. And then here's the spring. So that just kind of goes in there like so, bolts through. So that's that part. And then this is the part that goes in the back. Mounts against the rear fender there, and this mounts onto the fender itself. And then the shock just sticks in there like so. It's a little tight fit, just so there's a little movement. And then the bolt goes through there. And then, so really the only thing I had to do to the mini bike itself is just drill these 2 holes in the front to hold the swivel on. But other than that, there was zero molestation of the bike itself. Just pretty much just a bolt-on kit. Like, you could literally buy any Coleman mini bike now and put this exact seat that I just made on any of the bikes. So that's what we're looking like so far. Just gonna get some paint on it and should be good to go. All right, here she is, guys, all finished up. Fresh out the oven, just powder coated it. Just a matte black. Painted the spring black as well as the mount back here. Everything looks really uniform. Just take a step back of the bike so you can really see that air gap. It just looks super uniform. Doesn't look like really anything's been done to it. Just look here. I'll get a little demonstration. I'll sit on it and kind of show you how it works and everything here. But so far it's super nice sitting on it. It's a big change from what it was for sure. So I'll show you what it's like here. Just plush. Here you go, adventure man. Got yourself a really nice mini bike now. Some rear suspension. And I know you're talking about putting some front suspension on there, Springer front end. So that'll be the next, or not the next video, but definitely coming up here. I'm getting a Springer front end on there for adventure man. Alright, if you guys like that video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and always subscribe. There's going to be a lot more content coming up, especially these mini bikes. A lot of different add-ons and stuff that I have kind of drawn up, and it's really going to max these things out. Anything I can think of that we can do to them, I'm going to do. So, but I feel like this project here was a huge success. Works really well. It's going to be a lot easier on the back. So, yeah, I hope you guys like the video, and like I said, just give it a thumbs up if you like it. Thanks.
A rear suspension for the military mini bike is now complete.